One of the craziest things about this podcast, for me anyway, on a personal note, has been the number of coaches that do things that I didn't even know there was a need for it. And they're already coaching and doing very well and succeeding in a very specified niche. Today I have Johnnie Marie Urban. She's a sensitivity coach, which means that she works with people who suffer from hypersensitivity, which I really didn't even know was a thing. But she's amazing. I had a great conversation with her. And one of the things that I really pulled out of this was the ability to reach an audience whenever there's a very difficult connection to be made. You can't just openly blurt out to everybody, hey, who's hypersensitive in this room? It doesn't work. You have to be very creative and very specific and strategical about going and getting clients for your business. She talks about that, and she talks about how she grew her business, how she found her niche, and how she overcome some amazing challenges to get where she is today. She's got her own show, she's got her own Facebook group, she's doing incredibly well with her clients, and today I'm super excited to introduce Johnnie Marie Urban. As I build my coaching business, I want to know how to effectively serve clients and make more money doing it. This podcast will pull back the curtain to reveal exactly how successful coaches are building their empires. Join me as I engage with top coaches from all over the world to discover their secrets. No theatrics and no theory, just real life strategy. My name is William Winterton, and this is Coaching Success Radio. All right, well, welcome to the podcast, everybody. I'm William Winterton. Glad to have you here with us today, and we have another amazing interview today with somebody who I just kind of know through some of the coaching groups on Facebook, and we've had a little bit of discussion, dialogue, and I'm very excited for her to share her story and a little bit about what she does and how she's grown her business up. So I've got with me Johnnie Marie Urban. Johnnie, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing awesome today, William. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm so looking forward to sharing with you what you are curious about.
I'm looking forward to having you on here. You got kind of an interesting little kind of a niche that you've got worked out. Well, tell me a little bit first of all, because people don't know you like I do yet. So go ahead and just introduce yourself. Tell a little bit about who you are and how you got started with the coaching business. A little bit.
Well, that's a really crazy, interesting story, but the stories are amazing, so I'm just gonna go for it.
Go for it.
So back in the day, I used to be a hairstylist, and I still have my license and I still dabble at it, but I'm not in a salon. I haven't been in a long time. But what happened is, over the years of being a stylist, we end up being what the psychiatrists and the bartender, how you pour all your stuff out to your hairstylist.
Right.
That's what was going on for a long time. And, basically our job is to make you look good and feel good by the time you leave, right? So if you pour out your stuff on me and you look good when you leave, hey, we're all happy, right? Well, after a while, it got really tiring because you'd come in and dump on me, and then you'd leave and you'd feel great and I'd feel horrible because I picked up all your stories and energy and everything. I'll go into that later when I talk about sensitivity. But so that got really crazy. Then, so I thought, okay, how can I help these people? My heart goes out to them. I really want to help them. And I started doing some coach training so I could help them. I didn't do it with the intention of making money and having a business, but it ended up being that way eventually. So I learned a lot from that experience about, some people want to get help and some people don't. They just want to pour out everything and walk away and not realizing that they're leaving a trail of damaged crumbs after them. But you learn that. But I learned really a lot of valuable skill sets and just working with the general public like that, and in my craft that I was doing as a hairstylist. So, and then moving forward, it's like I've been involved with Tony Robbins for a long time. I started going to his seminars, and I was really hooked on what he could do to move people. I was watching him at these events, actually changing the room, but working just with one person. And I'm like, after seeing him a couple times, I'm like, I want to know what he knows, because it's magical how you can shift someone's life that quickly with forever. So I started taking more courses, and I went through Tony's coach training programs and all this kind of stuff so that I could learn, specifically his methods too, because they're quick. So, so I had that under my belt, and I started doing that. Been doing that for almost 17 years now. So, fast forward, moving forward and everything is, did I answer that question?
Yeah, well, this is how you got started into it. So essentially what I'm understanding is that just kind of, and it's a very common thread, is that you are in one industry and something you're doing in industry somehow triggers something in your mind that I think I can do more help or more good serving in a different way. Just you're receiving all this data and all these stories from people, but you're not able to really do much with it other than just kind of hold on to their stuff and then let them walk out the door. And so it seems like that's at least starting the springboard of where you kind of got into it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yeah.
But
No, I was going to say is like in coming forward into, because I know you're going to ask me this, William.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to ask me, how did I find the niche that I'm in?
Right.
I know a lot of people, I'm on the same Facebook groups that you're in and everything like that. And a lot of, especially new coaches, they're asking this question: how do I define my niche? I just want to do life coaching. And I'm just like, because I went down that path. I went, and we all do. When we're first in training, we're trained to do life success coaching type of thing. And so where do you start? And it's a process. That's all I can tell you. It's a journey and a process. Some people really, really know what they want to niche in, but sometimes you start there. Like me, I started in one place and I just kept moving. It's like they say the path of an entrepreneur is not a straight line. It's a tangled mess at times.
Right. Very much so.
Happens. So I tell new coaches, I said, just go where your heart is right now. Go where your passion is right now, because in the long run, the bottom line is passion will win over everything. Somebody tells you that your niche isn't going to work and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, if your passion's in it, your passion will drive you to get up every single morning and do it. Maybe you're the leader of the pack and you're going to start the movement. Maybe, it's like, and because I was always squashed. I was squashed as soon as I started studying the highly sensitive person, which is what became a passion to me. I've always been a highly sensitive person. We're born this way. If you do any kind of research in it at all, I've always been this way. Just didn't know what it was called.
Right.
And when in 2012, I actually picked up a magazine, Oprah magazine, and there was an article in there that described the highly sensitive person and what Elaine Aron had researched in the early 90s and all this kind of stuff. And little assessment was there. And I'm like, I'm on the airplane flying somewhere for business, and all of a sudden I'm crying my eyes out reading this. For the first time in my life, who I was in black and white print in front of me in my lap. And I was so happy and relieved that I always thought I was weird and different, so did my family. They didn't know what to do with me, kind of thing. It's not that I cried all the time. I was really a happy child. I precocious, stubborn, all those things that still serve to this day, but pretty much really, pretty happy and all this kind of stuff. But the sensitivity is not about crying in a corner all the time. I mean, some people, yes, they do, because they haven't quite learned what the traits and abilities are of a sensitive person, and they don't know what to do with them. And so what happened after 2012, I started studying it. Like everything I study, I say, okay, I'm going to learn this for myself, but I'll also be able to use this for my clients.
Right.
And because I found out when I was building a brand new website, and I went back to find some testimonials for the website, all these people I've been working with for over 10 years, I asked them for testimonials, and they came back, and I just started reading these testimonials, and it was like, oh my gosh, I've been attracting highly sensitive people this whole time.
Which is why you have to be passionate, because if you're just doing this for money, there's not always that big motivation for you to go out and keep learning. But if you're really driven and passionate, then yeah, like in your case. So tell me, sensitive coaching, tell me a little bit about just what that market, what do you do? Who do you look to work with? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So what it's morphed into is teaching public speaking to sensitive entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. And how that all came to where it is today is that, I discovered what being highly sensitive is. I actually authored a book, Stop the Madness. Really easy read, but I kind of pulled a whole bunch of stuff together, research and things I've learned from Tony Robbins, all this kind of stuff in this one little book that you can probably sit down and read in one sitting. I did that on purpose because if it's not easy to read, you won't read it. But so for going forward from that, though, as I studied it, I all of a sudden it woke me up. There woke something up in me, and I go, oh my gosh, I got to talk about this. There's people that are sitting in a closet, highly sensitive, and they don't know what to do with it. So I started speaking about it, and I started coaching more into that niche than anything else. But what was interesting, what happened is I was going out and speaking to groups, did some live workshops and everything like that on it locally, and then I got people coming to me, coaches, healers, therapists, and they were coming to me and asking me if I could teach them my public speaking skills. I had gone to courses and classes in the past to learn public speaking skills for my coaching business. And I learned a few things. Some things didn't work because not everything works for sensitive people. Right. I threw those away. I developed my own process and took what worked, developed my own process, and now I'm at a place now where it's really working for me. And so I have all these people, coaches and stuff, asking me, can you teach me what you're doing, because you're having fun. And people say, I never have fun up there at public speaking, no way. And you're getting people excited about what you teach, and I want to know. So I did a couple workshops and everything. This was like 5 or 6 years ago. I did some workshops for small, real small. Right. Almost like, I says, well, let's just see what happens kind of thing. I want to just see what happens and have fun doing it. So I got small groups of people together, and I did that. And they walked away amazing. It's a combination of, yes, I have the skill set and this I've learned how to do public speaking and to teach it. I'm in my heart, I'm a teacher. It just, I taught cosmetology and everything. So that's kind of my platform of what I do, is being an educator and a teacher. So moving forward with that, I taught them, but my coaching skills also came into play. When someone stepped up and they were scared to death, and all we do is ask them some easy stuff. It's like, could you just talk about something you love? Your dog, your child, your husband. Just talk about something for a couple of minutes to kind of like warm them. And this one gal, she was actually my favorite transformation of all. She was so scared to death that she could feel the pain in her entire body. And it's starting her legs and creep up and everything. And she just was like, so desperately wanted to change this because it was hurting her career. Totally hurting her career. So I stopped the training and I says, I got to serve this person right now. And in the next, I think 10 minutes, I walked her through a real process that she was open to and everything. And by the time we were done, her pain was virtually 90% gone.
That's awesome.
My coaching skills came into play on top of everything else. So I think that's my program is so uniquely different from other. Personally, I know I've been to speaker trainers from high-end names to local neighborhood speaking training, and nobody does this the way I do it from what I know. And so I think I've got something special.
You basically created. You found what they would determine basically a blue ocean that you're able to go in and just find the exact kind of a unique system, like you said, that's not being played out there, and it's serving. But here's the question that I would wonder, because there are a lot of coaches out there who have something very, very unique and specific, like you, nothing like exactly like yours, but unique and specific in, let's say, in the health industry or in the spiritual healing industry or something, some other industry, very unique, very specific. And it's also very much something that people don't want to make known about themselves. It's something very personal, and they don't want people to know. Mm-hmm. I can imagine somebody who is incredibly sensitive and who's incredibly in this state of mind where you're at isn't going to just have a sign that just says, hey, I'm super sensitive. Anybody want to help? Yeah. So you are looking for help like that. How do you find those clients, and how do you grow your client list?
Well, it has been a challenge. But I think I'm at a point now where I've got it figured out. Okay. And a lot of times it's I took business training a couple years ago, and they kept telling me nobody knows what highly sensitive person is, so you're going to waste your time and effort marketing that. And I go, I beg to differ. And it was because of that passion I had. I was not going to go into this trading lightly. This is something that people need to know.
Right. Okay.
Because they're suffering. They're in their sensitivity. They're hiding it. They're going through all the pain of being in the shadows of being a sensitive person instead of using it as a strength and an ability. And it's really funny because when I first started this, but back in 2012, my first Facebook page for sensitive people, I went looking for answers. And I was like only the third Facebook page for sensitive people. And now I think there's probably 15 or 20.
Yeah.
It's just grown into a huge movement since then. And it's not that I started the movement. I just kind of like rode with it.
Right.
All these sensitive people came out of the woodwork once they started, hearing about it and reading it, and more people wrote books and more people talked about it. And now people are really acknowledging their sensitivity and they're learning about it and they're growing with it. And yeah, there's some people that like to sit and whine in their little corner, but we still hold their hand and work with them and see where that's going to lead them. And that's just people. That's just the human beings, that we are. So
do people come and find you through the Facebook community that you've built up? Is that pretty much your main traffic source at this point?
Actually, no.
Okay.
My Facebook page is like a support. It's just a support place. Okay. And it's private. So I ask people to join in because I want to protect that space.
That's brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, so I want to make sure. So it's like I don't really find people there, but what I do is I go out to other groups. I call it farming. I'm not fishing. I'm farming. Right. So I go out to other groups and I look for people that are asking for help, and then I just drop little pearls of wisdom, of support and everything. And then I if the group lets me, I put a little link in there for a free assessment. And the assessment takes them, they find out the results of how sensitive they are. They find out, then that takes them through a process of also getting a free mini course that explains even more. And then they drop into my news feed so that once a week they get a newsletter. And that's kind of how I've been doing it. I haven't paid for Facebook ads yet, and I don't know if I ever will. Maybe will, maybe not, we'll see. And then there's other ways that I also build my business, but can you imagine that public speaking is probably one of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's not just a public speaking on live, on a live stage in front of people either, because nowadays we have the platform for the internet. And so you still have to have the same training and skill set to be able to deliver your message just as clearly and just as passionately, just like you had said earlier, William, about how if somebody has a really, really unique niche and they don't want to really share it with the world because, there's lots of reasons why they're that way. They could be an introvert and they're super shy. They could be that, this is one thing, a quality of sensitive people is that we honor humbleness. It's something that we honor in other people and we honor it in ourselves. So being humble and then to go out into the world and market and brag about what we do, to us it's bragging. Right. And so that mindset of shifting of, you have a skill, a valuable skill that people need. And it's important that you get your message very clear so that people can understand you and come to you and get help from you because you have something special that people need and you need to find them. They need to find you. So it's shifting that mindset of telling them that they have value in what they do. And that's language. That's all. That's owning it. It's a psychological thing, but it's also shifting the language of what you do and owning it. So basically, one of the things it's so critical, one of the pieces of I just need to say this because it's so important that your speech has stories in it. And your most important story in your speech is your big why. The why do you do what you do? Because if your audience knows why you do what you do, they'll follow you everywhere, because they can follow your mission. Your story is unique to you, but they also have stories that are going to be similar and unique to them. And I'm not talking the hero's journey. Everybody says, oh, at one time my life was like this, and then now I learned this, and now it's like, no, this is something that is not tied to your business. It's tied to your values. So when you know what that big why story is and you start putting that in everything you do, then that stays with you forever. If your business changes, your job changes, something changes, that story's still you. And that doesn't change. And so it's like, that's what I came up with as one of the biggest things that your speech needs to have, is that big purposeful why.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power in the language and in the words. And I think that may be something that even intimidates people, especially if they are super sensitive, just knowing that if they don't feel they have the power to share themselves appropriately, or if they just don't even know what their why is. So all that coaching you're giving them, all the training you're giving them, is really giving them a chance to live way more abundantly into themselves. And it's probably something a lot of them never thought they probably ever could do and couldn't talk about, because again, it's not an issue that you wear on your sleeve and you even tell people.
It's one of those things that are, it's like our big why is our values. Like, well,
Right.
you have values too and everything like that. But then we say, well, okay, what are my values? And so you start trying, you have to have a conversation. You have to, okay, so let's ask you what's most important to you. And you pull this information out of somebody and they go, well, that's no big deal. That's my life. I live that.
Right.
How can I market with that? And I go, that's what you need to market.
Yeah.
And they don't, it's like, it took me a long time to figure that out too. It's like, really? That's what people want to know? And yeah, that's what people want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. They want to know you're a person and not a machine, which is a huge deal. So kind of on that note though, do you have a coach that you work with to help you in your business, or have you ever had coaching with somebody, or do you just kind of go on your own and read? I know you've done a lot of studying through Tony Robbins, and you've done a lot of classes and courses. I just don't know if you have a person or a couple of mentors that you work to help through your own stuff.
I always have mentors in my back pocket,
Mm-hmm.
always. Currently, I don't have one that I'm paying right now.
Right.
But I always have mentors, whether they're going to help me with one thing or multiple things. And I also, it's really funny. In the past I did. I went and found mentors and trainers that could train me on what I needed to do to grow and everything.
Right.
And it was very general, I want to say, training and everything. But now I'm at a point where I find and learn from all kinds of people, and they don't even have to be a coach. If I just ask them, if I'm like, okay, can I ask you this? I ask a question. It just so pays to stay curious. And so lessons in life can come from unexpected places.
Yes.
And that's where I can't even think of a story right now that happened recently, but it just being open and curious, it all comes from places. But I have that curiosity and wanting to learn and grow.
Yes.
I have learned from people that you can't even believe, that gave me 5 minutes of their time. And especially in the Tony Robbins world, you meet some phenomenal people in his audience, and you're just like, wow, I was just talking to, so-and-so. It's like, they just gave me advice and this and that. So it was probably really, really cool.
I appreciate you taking the time today to talk, Johnnie. It's been a pleasure to get to meet you and know you a little bit more. And,
Thank you.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking us out. New episodes are coming out every few days, including lots of conversations with massively successful coaches sharing their secrets with you. So be sure to subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel so that you don't miss out. And if you're looking for a way to start making serious money from your coaching, you need to check out my free training. It's at williamwinterton.com. I lay out the step-by-step on how to start making 5 figures a month in the next 60 days. Check it out, williamwinterton.com. I'll see you next time.